I should show you the process and what my rig looks like at the end. So again, £70 bit of shock leader, sort of up to there like so, a little bit extra. Cut that. Start off with a swivel, rated to about £80. I'm just going to tie a swivel on. Again, it's thick line. It's just what I've been using and I've got it, so I'm using it up. I'll do 4 turns on this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pass it through. Get it so it's on its way, otherwise the tag ends will just fall straight back through it again. And I'll clip it onto my weight just so I can put it tight. And then that's it, and cinch it home like so. That's that. Snip off the tag end, just leave a cut of mil as always, like previous. And that's it. Right, that's that end. Then what I should do a couple of crimps on there. I still haven't got myself any rig gums or played around with rig gums as yet, so crimps we do from now. I like these little loomy beads, as you're probably aware of. I'll stick a loomy bead on, and then a swivel, and the same again. They've got a circle at one end, and then a nice little triangle bit at the other end. The triangle piece is where I'll thread my snood lines through, just because I think it just presents it better. So the circle end goes on to my rig body, and then another little loomy bead goes on, and then another little crimp goes on. And I think this was the one that did, well, no, it's gone on. So I'll show you quickly. So far we have a crimp, loomy bead, swivel, and another loomy bead, and then another crimp, and that would do for that bit there. And then next we have another crimp, excuse me, and then another loomy bead, then another little swivel, again, triangle one end, circle the other, put the circle end on to my hook length. And a loomy bead, and then another crimp to finish it off. And then I'm going to put a genie clip on. Like I said before, there's 2 types of genie clips that I used to use, which is one with the hook on, so I can use it as a, clip down. But because I've got a different type of limp bait clip, I should just be using just a standard genie clip. So put that on the bottom and tie that on 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. I haven't been able to get out much this February. It's a weird time fishing wise. There are fish about. It's just the weather's not been that great, and the wind has just been blowing easterly for ages. So I'm waiting for, there's a different front coming in now, where the weather's warming up a bit now. We've got a warm spell coming through and the wind is changing, so it'll be game on soon. Just trim that end off, and then we have it. There's my rig body. So basically just to run through it, I've got from the top I've got a crimp at the very top, and then I've got a loomy bead, a swivel, another loomy bead, another swivel, and then down the bottom end here I've got the same again. I've got a swivel, a crimp, I've got a crimp, loomy bead, swivel, loomy bead, and a crimp. And there we have it. Right, I shall set this up in my jig that I've got. So I basically clip that onto my weight, like so. Put that under my hook. It just makes life a little bit easier when you've got a board that you can make your rigs on, because it just holds it all into place, like so. See? So, right. I'm going to start off. I just knocked my thing off the side. Oops. Right. We'll start off with some snood lamps. I'm just going to roll out probably about 2 foot of amnesia. And I should do the hooks first on that, actually, to be fair. Right, I've got, these are size 2 Aberdeen hooks, and I've got the Kamazans, and I've got some other ones here, in and over Kamazori, size 2 hooks. I do have a random selection of hooks that I bought, which are just randoms. I'm going to try and match them up, see if they're sort of similar size to these hooks that I've got here. So I should grab one out and see if they match up a bit. It might be slightly too big. Yeah, that's massive, that one. So, a bit too big, that one. I might have to stick to using the shop bought ones. What size is that one? Let's have a look. I might go with these ones because these look like smaller gates on them. I like to use up the other ones, to be fair. So yeah, there's a hook here, and there's the size 2. You can see. The gate's slightly bigger, but not by much, to be fair. So I'm going to use these just to use them up, to be fair. So what I'm going to do is tie this on. So I'll go through the front of the hook again, so I'm trying something different out on how I'm tying the hooks. They may not work, they may work, I don't know. It's just one of them trial and errors, which is the beauty. Right, let's go around 4 times with this. Thread it free. Put it nice and tight. Get my scissor handle for this, so I can proper cinch it down home. There you go. It's got a little bit of a tag end on there, so I'm just going to trim it just ever so slightly. I'm still going to leave a bit of a tag end. Right, this is the bit where Do you put beads on or do you not? You know what I mean? Obviously, I'm still going to have a sequin and a bait stop, which is standard. For this purpose, I will put beads on. I generally don't bother, to be fair, but in this instance, I will. So I'm just going to put a sequin on, so it's going down to my hook. So I should put a sequin on first, like so. And I'm going to put on a small bead, just a little one, like so. And I'm going to go for a yellow bead, like so, and another little small bead. It doesn't, I don't, you know what I mean, bead wise, I mean, I don't mess about with beads too much. It can be a bit of an attractant, but you know what I mean, I'm not that sure. It's just down to preference, to be fair with you guys, you know. So I put on an orange bead, just mix up the colours a little bit, and I put on a small little white bead again, and then I might finish it off with another yellow bead, like that. And then what I might do is I put a small little white bead on, then I'm going to put a bait stop on. I don't know, there ain't no wrong way or right way of putting beads and colours and stuff on. It's all down to preference. I mean, if there's a scientific thing out there that says like plaice and flatties and stuff go for particular coloured beads, then, you know what I mean, go with it. But I'm not 100% sure, to be fair. So, but I should bang some beads on just for this purpose, and there you have it. And the one good, I don't even know if the beads, I mean, even if you put a big bead on for the fear of plaice deep hooking themselves, I mean, you could probably put a big bead on somewhere along there, just to minimise the deep hook, if you know what I mean. But there you go. Right, so that's one that I've done with a bead selection on. Right, with this, I am then going to tie that onto my top swivel. I haven't measured this or nothing, so I'm just literally going by eye. So I'm just going to hold that up to up top somewhere. I'm looking at the bottom set of swivels, which is going to be right by the weight anyway, but I'm going to create a loop on that for this one to clip down onto. So I'm just roughly eyeing it up, and then I'm just going to tie that on. So just quickly tie this bad boy on. I'm not crimping anything down as yet. I might crimp the bottom ones down because that's where they're going to be anyway, but the top one I'm not crimping. And pretty much the same as what I did with my other wig, my 2 hook scratchy wig. I'll just put my hook lengths on first, and then I've crimped it all down afterwards. So that's that. Trim off the excess, this tag end, leaving a cut of meal just for. Right, and that's that. Right, now I should move on to my bottom hook snood. Same again, I'm just going to rip out. I mean, the beauty of this rig is that you can have your bottom snood as long as you bloody want. So if you want it literally a long way from your weight, then you can cut it massive. So I'm going to cut it massive just to show you. So, you know, it's it's nearly as long as what my trace is. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to bang on another hook. Which one was it? The smaller ones out of the bags that I've got. Go through the front of it again. I'm just going to repeat the process as what I've done with the last one. As I say, I don't really bead them up. I'm not really a fan of bling, lots of bling in that lot, but if it helps, then it helps. I mean, you've got to try it to find out. I mean, if I find out that it doesn't really increase my hookup rate, sometimes people will argue and say that the fish are attracted to the beads more than what they are to the bait. So what they do, they go for the beads. So you're not actually, your hookup rate is less because the fish are actually attacking the beads and not actually attacking the important part, which is your bait and your hook. So it's distracting them away from your hook. And there's that argument. But, I mean, if it brings the fish in nearer to have a look and to investigate, then, that can't be a bad thing, can it? Right, same again then. I should bang on a sequent. Would just put a sequent on normally and a bait stop, and that would do me. And just a nice, well presentated lug or a bit of razor. But for this scenario, I'll bang some beads on. Right, I've got my sequent on. The same again, small little white bead. Throw that in, like so. I'm going to do a yellow. And then a small little white bead. Glad I have got my big eyes on today. Then I'm going to throw on a orange. You can use whatever colours you like. I hear people use black and green a lot. And put on another white one. Then another yellow. Some people put loads of beads on where it goes halfway up the bloody snood, you know what I mean? It's got like a 6-inch fucking run of beads on it. So how aerodynamic that makes it, I don't think it does. So I like to try and keep it as simple as possible, to be fair. Right, bait stop going on. And just pop that on. That's the last one on that line, that wire, so I can just pull that straight through. Not worry about it. Right, throw that right down to the bottom. And there's our second hook snood with beads on and a bait stop. Right, now this is the interesting part. It's figuring out where you need to cut this long snood line to fix a cascade swivel onto it, because we will be using a cascade swivel on here in order to form the loop. I always confuse myself on this part here, because it just confuses the hell out of me. I think it's old age. So the cascade predominantly has got to be sitting in this region around here. So I'm going to start off by crimping up my bottom here, just so it's done and sorted. So I just gently crimp that up, making sure you've got enough room for that swivel to be able to do its thing, helicopter around in the surf or the tide. Slipped then. It's right. So that's that there. Then what I'm going to do is, I don't know if there's a right way or wrong way of doing it there, but I'm going to tie this onto here, and then cut the line once I've tied it on, so I can join the cascade onto it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Pass it through. There's that. Trim off the excess. Like so. Right, now we have, let's just straighten that hook out. Now we have a loop. Right, so it's not so confusing. Basically, the loop that comes off your swivel can be as long as it wants to be. And then wherever you crimp this top one is pretty much where you want to put your cascade. So that's too high up if I do it like that. So I want it to be probably about there. You just have to sort of mess about. This is the beauty of having a jig. I'll bring it down to show you what I'm doing. I haven't crimped this top up here, so basically I'm just eyeing it in where I'd roughly want this top snood to be and where I want the cascade swivel to go on. So I'm going to aim it for about there. So I've got a good 10 inches, 12 inches. I'm going to cut that, and this is where it starts forming the loop. Right, this is where it gets confusing, because you've got to figure out which way you tie this on, which stumps me every single time. So I think I'm going to start off with it facing like that, like so. That is where I'm going to tie it. So basically the small eye goes onto your hook length after you've cut your hook length in half. So closest to the hook, you put the eye of the cascade swivel onto that line first. You may see me cut this and redo it again in a minute if I've done it wrong. Oh, I just need to pull that tight, so I'm just using a pair of pliers. Cinch it home. Alright, that's that. Trim off the tag ends. They are annoying. Right, the second part of the hook snood that you've cut in half, the one that's attached to the swivel on your main body, I'm going to tie on to the other side of the swivel, the big eye. Sometimes I have like a brain fog where I just can't fathom it out, and it's just like, what? I think we're all right. We're good. We're all right. Right. Loop it round, thread it through. Only simple 5 10 blood knots. Cinch that in tight as well. Snip off the tag end. There you go. There we have it. Now for the fun part is you just literally clip that up onto there, pull that tight, keep the tension on it, and then you can run your top swivel up with your crimp and basically take the tension up, but not too much where all the tension and the weight is actually on your hook snoods. So you still want your main line, your rig body, to be the bit that's actually taking the strain. Once you've got it in position, you hold it there and then literally just gently crimp that, like so. Bring the top crimp down, crimp it into place, ever so gently, like so. Check it's all nice and tight, which it is, and there you have it. Right, this is my finished plaice wig that I use for plaice. You can even catch rays on this. That's why I like to go for the slightly bigger, thicker hooks, so that it can actually hold away. But as you can see, it's got a loop. It's got a massive loop, but it's still nice and streamlined. It's just 2 hook, and again it releases. You've got the top snood there, and then you've got a really nice long, on my slipper, you've got a really nice bottom snood that can sit in the water well away from your weight, to get you other ground dwelling fish such as plaice, flounders, even dabs would bite onto that hook, and rays. So there we have it. That's my plaice rig, or ray. It's another all-round rig that I like to make to help me catch whatever species are out there. And it is based, it is an old loop rig. Before when I used to make these before, again, I never used cascade swivels. I used to just do a loop. The only difference is with this design is that I can actually have a hell of a lot more longer bottom trace than what I normally would have been able to have, because of the cascade swivel. Normally I would have just done this, where it would hook up onto the actual loop itself, no cascade swivels, nothing, and then it would be, obviously the top snood would be a little bit shorter, but that was how I used to do it. But the problem with that is that when it hits the water and it all does flick off, it doesn't necessarily mean that top one will unhook. I mean, it did in this instance, but there's times where I've reeled it back in and it hasn't, and it's failed. This one's still been looped, you know what I mean? So there we go. That's one of my plaice rigs, or another all-round flatfish rig that I like to use. Happy days. Hope you enjoyed.